Hey coaches and consultants, a question that I get asked all the time is how do you stand out online? How do you communicate online? What are some of the things that you should be talking about? It's like, how do I come up with content ideas? Do I do books and podcasts and downloads and videos and Instagram and IGTV and Snapchat? Like just so much stuff, right? So naturally, most people are just confused, so they do nothing. And it's really important, I think, as a base principle for engaging people online is to understand that ultimately consistency wins. So if you can produce one piece of content every day for the rest of time, you're going to win over someone that produces 35 pieces this week and then does nothing because they get overwhelmed and worked out. So number one is understanding that when it comes to marketing, no matter what it is that you're doing, whether that's online or live, there's two key fundamental principles to great marketing. Number one is positioning. Who is my target market? Who do I really want to work with? And we have another video for this, but first get clear on exactly who it is that you want to work with. Then second principle is once you know who you are positioned to attract is then creating valuable content, right? So positioning and producing value, communicating value, creating value. And so you can only create something that's valuable once you know who you're positioned to. Because, for example, Jade, who's our media marketing manager and one of our coaches, he's a vegan. I'm not a vegan. So if I'm reading an article about veganism, it's not valuable to me. Not that vegans are not valuable, okay? Don't get excited, Jade. But it's important to understand that that content's written for someone who's vegan. So it's not that that's inherently valuable or not, it's that it's subjective. And so for me, if I'm a big fan of football and soccer and I watch commentary about that and I'm consuming content like ESPN FC, something I watch all the time, it's because it's valuable to me. But if you don't like soccer, it's boring as batshit. So we're going to get very clear about who is your market for. And this is very important. It's almost more important who it's not for than who it is for. So a lot of coaches struggle with really narrowing it down. Start by putting an exclusion in place. And yes, I know you want to help everybody, but if you're still in that mindset, grow up. The reality is you're not going to be able to help everybody, not only because they don't want help, but also you're one person at this point, probably starting a business. Grow and scale, right? Tony Robbins don't even help everybody, right? It's the equivalent of Kmart of the personal development industry. So be clear on who you're for and who you're not. That's number one. Then let's produce value. Let's create value. Let's be of service. And by doing this, by really being clear on this, we're now creating an attraction business where people are going to come to us because we're putting out content that is really relevant to them, and as a result, they're going to be able to then come and work with us because it's naturally something that they're going to consume or engage with, right? If you look at our channel, what are we talking about? We're talking about coaching, we're talking about aspects of coaching, right? Problems, challenges, services, tactics, hacks, all that stuff relevant for coaches. If you're not a coach, you're not even watching my stuff, and if you do, you go, this is rubbish, right? Because it's rubbish to you. So let's get clear on what that looks like. And for me, I put together this plan about probably 7 years ago called a 25-5 plan. And it's very simple, but it is profound. So let's start with the 5 key elements of this. Number one, what is your client's long-term fears? And number two, what are their client's long-term goals and desires? And I want you to write down 5 for each of these. So 5 long-term fears, like 3 to 5, 10 years from now, and 5, 3 to 5, 10-year from now goals. So what are some of the long-term dreams and aspirations, the long-term fears? Then short-term, what are 5 frustrations that my dream client is dealing with right now? And also what are 5 things that they're working towards right now? 5 goals or aspirations, 5 things they want to accomplish. So 5 short-term fears and then 5 long-term fears, 5 short-term frustrations and 5 short-term goals and 5 long-term goals. So effectively you've got a bit of an understanding and a narrative of what's moving them, both pain and pleasure, short and long-term. Then the final thing, is to come up with 5 influences or interests. So if you know that your market is really passionate about health and fitness, that's going to be one of those key aspects. If you know that your market is big into personal development, then you might have personal development as an interest, but you might also have people like Marie Foley or Brene Brown or Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey, right? People that they already follow, Calvin Coyles, right? You know where I'm going with this. So you want to identify what are 5 things that they're interested in and also 5 people or influencers they follow online, because it's going to be important as a proxy for later content. What you've then got is 25 key things about this person. You've got a clear understanding of what's moving them forward in the short term and the long term, what their fears and desires are, the negatives in their lives, as well as the positives, and who they're already following online. You've now got a real snapshot. From there, what I do is I take all those 25 things, I sort of massage them together to come up with 5 key themes, 5 ideas, 5 concepts that are going to be universal, that are going to be timeless, and that are always going to ring true to my client. And it might not be 5 from one aspect or another, it might be a real collection of things, but effectively I try to narrow it down to 5 things so that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I've got something to talk about. Okay? Now, This is a little bit, by the way, just so we're all clear on this is a little bit of do what I say, not what I do. Because if you were to go back to me in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, I produced levels of content that were just sickening, right? Was producing content all the fucking time. And we just outproduced everybody else. I've now come to a point in my business, in my life, where I don't really want to be on Instagram TV all the time. I don't want to be doing Facebook Lives all the time. I got to a point where, having made tens of millions of dollars at this point, I just don't care. So what I want to do, though, is provide really good quality content. So Jay and I work together, produce great content for you that's going to be really relevant and dynamic, and then I'll pay to have it promoted, right? So in the beginning, I didn't have money. So I produced all of it myself. I went crazy. I was doing live streams all the time, like thousands and thousands of videos. Now, I'm not about that. I'd rather do quality over quantity. But in the beginning, you either pay with money or time. I didn't have money, so I paid with time. And so I just mass produced. And that's really valuable, by the way. Created huge growth for us. But now I'm much more about going great. I'd rather pay a little bit more and just have a better lifestyle for myself personally. That's a personal choice. So just be aware of that. Ideally, you have a theme Monday to Friday that you stick to. You can build some traction and virality to that as well. Or if you're not doing a theme Monday to Friday, you've got 5 key topics that you can talk about. And then here's a solution, right? Think about, if let's say one of your topics for your audience, you just come up with an audience. Let's say that you're working with young mums that have just had their first kids, and now they've got toddlers, for example. One of the things might be at-home activities, right? Let's just say that you're a parenting specialist. I say this because we've got a little one on the way, right? And I was just watching a birth vlog last night of one of the influencers. She has a toddler, and they were doing their nighttime routine, right? And she was talking about activities. Again, content that's valuable to my wife. I got dragged into it. So anyway, the point I'm trying to say is, let's say that you're a parenting expert, you specialize in mums with toddlers, so you've gone, cool. One of the things that we do to better engage children, to teach boundaries and all that sort of stuff, creativity, is we do activities, right? So you go, great. I'm going to come up with 13 activities. 13 things that a mum could do with their child, or a dad could do with their child. That's an activity. Painting, arts and crafts, paper mache, going to the park, magic, whatever. Like, just come up with 13 things. Now you've got 13 weeks of content, 90 days of content, where if you've got, like, let's say it's Creative Wednesdays or Activity Wednesdays, on Wednesdays you teach something to parents with toddlers about doing an activity, and it's a different activity every week. After you've done 90 days of content, to be fair, you could literally start at week 1 again, re-release that video, and no one would ever know. Because here's the nuance about social media, more than ever before. I watch videos on social all the time, Facebook, Instagram. Some of them get shared, some of them don't. But the reality is, I can tell you that I watched videos, but I can't tell you what I watched, because there's so much volume. It's like we're watching these tiny movies all the time. So volume is the key here. And so unless you're going to have it promoted, and it's going to go around the world constantly for you, and you're actually actively paying for that, you're going to have to just produce volume. But the good thing is, if I watched your arts and crafts video that was in week 3 of your 13-week cycle, I'm going to completely forget that I watched it. I'll remember that I watched it and watched the video from you, but I'm not going to remember what it was about. And so you could then literally just go copy paste for another 13 weeks and never have to produce content again. Or you go, of the 13, 9 of them were dynamite. There was another, say, 4 that weren't so good. So I'm going to refilm them and change them. But now I've already got 9 weeks of content. I'm only going to get 4 weeks to go. And once you've got that in place, you've now got content for the rest of your life. And so it's about syndication, it's about replication, it's about distribution at that point. But in the beginning, the creative process is, who's my target market? How can I produce value for them? What are their 5 dreams, their 5 fears, their 5 goals and frustrations, and then finally their 5 interests or influences. And a tiny little bonus hack as well. If you can identify the 5 people that he or she follows online, go and check out what they're already doing and see what content they're producing as well. Don't copy what they're saying in their videos, but by all means, learn and leverage the titles of those videos. So for example, if I saw one of my contemporaries producing a video that got great traction, which is 5 things to do in a sales call for coaches, I'm going to do 6 things to do in a sales call for coaches, because I know that content is relevant. I don't give a shit what they said on the video, because I've got my own strategies, but I am going to leverage from that concept and that idea as well. So good luck and God bless, guys. Go and kick some big goals. Wishing you well, and hopefully that gives you a platform to now be creative and spontaneous. Start with consistency and then build long term. Good luck and God bless.